Guys, hello and welcome to my very last video of 2020. And as I already mentioned it yesterday, 2020 has been a very challenging year, including myself, for a lot of you guys, and especially for the airline industry. And that is why I was always trying to be very considerate and very gentle with my opinion on airlines, especially when it comes to bad reviews. And I gotta say first off, even though this is my worst 5 videos of 2020, I am generally a very, very positive person. Everybody who knows me personally always says so. I never try to put anyone down, or I don't try to make anyone look stupid in my reviews when I have something negative to say. No, I try to bring in my experience I have from working in the industry for most of my life to improve the product for you guys. And personally, we have made so many changes on this channel. Whether you take the Singapore airline case or Malaysia Airlines, they're taking this feedback serious, and it makes traveling for you and I so much better. Somebody has to say it, not everybody can be paid and has to do sponsored reviews. So it's important that there are people go out there who unbiasedly, independently review the airline industry to make changes that benefit all of us. So this is what I wanted to say before we get into this year. And I think traveling this year was very different, and it left a bitter taste in my mouth every time I went on a flight, and it wasn't as it used to be. However, there were flights where I was very disappointed and where I thought this could have done much better. And that's my only mission out there, and that's what I want you guys always to know. And I think the success of this channel stands testament the views we have, the subscribers, and the attention we get. So I'm sure there are people out there who take my feedback seriously. Some they don't, but you can't always please everyone. But let's start. Let's get into my worst flights of 2020, and we're gonna start with this one, number 5. So guys, a wonderful good morning from Germany's ugliest airport, Berlin-Schönefeld, and I'll be also flying their flag carrier, Georgian Airways. Georgian Airways was a complete COVID mess. No concept, no social distancing, extremely annoyed crew, no food, and absolutely overpriced. In fact, it was the most expensive 3-hour flight of my life. Also, the onboard product was outdated, cheap, and lacking absolute identity. Given that Georgia is such an amazing country, this airline could be a wonderful little boutique airline if they really wanted to. Yeah, I think I was expecting a lot more from Georgian Airways and from all the Corona concepts I've experienced during this pandemic on numerous airlines. Georgian Airways was a little disappointing. I had a few airlines I wanted to pick for this spot, number 5. So it ended up, it was like tiny little major differences. Could have been a different airline, but I decided to pick Georgian Airways. But let's move on and let's go to number 4. I was giving a hygiene kit, the new amenity kit of 2020. Turkish Airlines was my very first flight after the lockdown, and instead of getting a vibe of "we are in this together," I felt like a convict on my way to Alcatraz. Passengers were treated like cattle, nobody was allowed to move, and all we got on an 11-hour flight was some stale sandwiches and cheap juice. It was a complete different environment. It didn't feel like the Turkish Airlines that I used to enjoy anymore, and I very quickly realized that if we don't figure this out very soon, the flying we used to love will soon be gone. Look how nicely presented. I guess because that was my longest flight of 2020 as well, and it was my first flight after a very long break. And then all of a sudden I found myself in an environment that was so foreign and so cold to me that this flight will always be remembered as one of my worst because of the emotions I had, and it was also very new for the crew. So I think that was what made the difference, and that's why I picked this one on spot number 4. But let's move on. Let's go to the top 3 or the worst 3. And I'm sure you guys have a rough idea who is there, but you probably don't know who's gonna end up on the worst spot, so the first one in this case. But let's start with number 3. Why am I showing 4? 3. That's how we show 3, right? Let's do it.
When I posted my Tunis Air review, I found an abandoned and very dirty lounge, and also the flight wasn't very flattering. The next day, my video was all over the news. But not only that, it was all over social media, and the entire country was talking about it on Facebook and Instagram. Soon after, YouTubers, radio station as well as national TV picked up my video, and it became the talking point of the country. Later, Tunisia's most famous actor, Davel Abdin, was so inspired by my video that he decided to post his very own horror story on Tunis Air, sharing it with millions of followers on Instagram.
أمس نشر الفنان التونسي ظافر العابدين فيديو من داخل طائرات. قبل ظافر العابدين قام هذا اليوتيوبر الألماني وهو Cahill.
And the whole moment peaked when the BBC covered the entire story to a massive global audience. Oh, and I also became a meme, by the way. Isn't that cool? However, the pressure on Tunis Air mounted to such an extent that the airline published a statement on Facebook. They refused to take any responsibility and even claimed that I entered the lounge before it opened at 5 AM. A few hours later, Al Jazeera run AJ Plus with its 10 million followers exposed Tunis Air by publishing an own video showing screenshots from my review that clearly proved that I entered the lounge during its opening hours, exposing the airline's lies and refusal to take any responsibility, turning the airline's post into an absolute laughingstock.
But that was also like a great example of Tunis Air. Once that video went out and it got the attention from the media, like including the BBC, Al Jazeera, they really like stocked up their lounge nicely. They cleaned it. They even served hot food all of a sudden. So this is what I mean. We are able to make a difference with our opinions, even though they've been denying and denying. I mean, that is a really, I think, that airline is really rotten when it comes to the management and the way it's run, like especially from the thousands of messages I received from Tunisians all around the world. We're actually celebrating me for exposing them. I think with Tunis Air, it needs a lot more other than like just changing or cleaning the lounge or introducing hot food. I think this airline needs a serious restructuring if it wants to succeed in the coming years. But let's move on. Let's go to spot number 2.
So, and here we are on board the 787-8. How filthy and disgusting.
I have no idea how Ethiopian Airlines was able to be rewarded as Africa's best airline, because I've experienced the complete opposite. Absolute filthy and dirty cabins, the worst customer service of any airline on earth, and a very average onboard product. On top of all of that, the airline broke my back and never responded to my emails or inquiries. Even when the UK PR team reached out to me, they never once offered me to replace my bag. My advice, stay away from Ethiopian Airlines. It's not worth the hassle.
Look at this.
Yeah, that was spot number 2, Ethiopian Airlines, and I think got so many messages from you guys as well telling me that they always break luggage, their airplanes always look filthy. I mean, I have huge respect for Ethiopian Airlines and the work they have done in Africa and how they connect the continent, but it's also always very important to not stand still and keep on improving. And what I found the saddest of all this was all those Ethiopians who wouldn't even watch the videos, who would like straight go to the comment section and insult me. And I think that says also a lot about the attitude that you have to open yourself up to criticism in order to learn and to improve. But that being said, now let's see, we should have an award, like the Cahill Award 2020 for the worst airline goes to...
Recording that will be soon.
Huh?
Because you cannot record this one.
Because I have to tell people a story.
Oman Air, the world's worst airline. By far. First, I fell victim to the upgrade scam, like many of my subscribers do. They let you bid on an upgrade, charge you, bump you back to economy at the gate, and never refund your money. When they noticed that I filmed it all, they threatened to sue me. The flight was just as worse. Super slow service, out of food and drink choices, and a broken in-flight entertainment, of course. When I reached out to the airline to get an answer from them and why they scam passengers, they asked me to use the feedback form. 3 emails and almost 1 year later, I still haven't heard back from Oman Air. Don't fly with them if you want to have a good flight.
Yes, and I think that one is justified because it's constantly disappointing every time I travel with Oman Air. Let's see, I had a trip booked next year on Oman Air, but unfortunately because of COVID it was cancelled. But let's see if I'm going to fly Oman Air again, whether things are going to change. But honestly, if I had to pick an airline that was most disappointing or a flight that was most disappointing, it was definitely Oman Air because their performance was simply awful. But this should be it. This should be it for 2020. That was my very last video. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank everybody who stood by me in 2020, who was leaving comments, who was leaving likes, who was supporting me, for those who shared my video, for those who watched my video, especially in a difficult year like this. It means everything to me, and you can believe me, if you could like look inside my chest, you would see my heart bounce up and down because of gratitude, and I don't take that for granted. And I'm so blessed that I have such a lovely audience. Also, thanks to the haters and to the people who criticize me. I'm not always 100% right, and I sometimes really appreciate when you guys send me messages or leave comments where you said, no Josh, you're not 100% right, or this was wrong, because I think that makes a very healthy and good discussion. So I also thank my critics, because you guys make me better and you teach me things as well. So I appreciate that. And also a very big thank you to my Patreons. You guys are amazing. You guys have supported me in such a difficult year, not just financially, but also with good advice. Our WhatsApp group is so much fun most of the time when we chat. And yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are incredible, amazing. You guys are kind, you guys are loving, you guys are real friends to me. From the bottom of my heart, I just wanted to say thank you, patrons. You guys have been an incredible support in 2020, and I can't thank you enough. And I hope that we all can come together in 2021 and have a beer. This should be it from my side. I don't have anything else to say. But yeah, guys, I wish you the very, very best in 2021. And whatever you have planned, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to do, whether you want to change, you want to lose weight, you want to start a new job, you want to start a new career, or whatever it may be, always remember that every year is also a new chance. You know, whatever you have done and whatever you screwed up in 2020, it doesn't need to define who you are in 21. Everyone always deserves a second chance. And if you really work on yourself and genuinely believe in it, and you are being a good person, then good things will come to you automatically. So just believe in it, and I'm sure once you have a positive mindset and you take the new year, you take the challenges that are coming for you, you will succeed. And wherever you are, whether you're in India, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Australia, Asia, North America, Europe, South America, doesn't matter. It will be your year. All right, guys, wherever you're off to, have a safe trip, and thank you so much for watching. This is it. That was 2020.